members and I were to veto that and to act to prevent that bill from occurring.
What's the scenario in which that's doable in terms of, how might Western Australia have more saying power in the federal government? Yes, you have Senate and the House of Representatives, but it's always leaning towards the Eastern Seaboard conversations, and they define the structure, and the leaders of the country comes from the Eastern Seaboard rather than the West. So how do you see that equation changing in the future? What are the key triggers or indicators or lead indicators for that to happen?
To me, it's very simple, honestly, is that the Australian Senate should operate as it was constitutionally set out to be. So 100 years to the table, 120 years late, we finally run the Senate like it should have been, which means that we would send senators to Canberra, Liberal, Labor, whatever, and they would not caucus with their party on Canberra. So they would go there and they would represent their state.
So because they're senator for Western Australia.
Yes, that's right.
Not for Labor Party or the Liberal Party.
Yeah, maybe they would be, but they would not caucus with the central party. So when it came time for bills to be allocated to, and see what happens is they get on a plane together, Liberal and Labor senators and Greens, they fly across and they walk into the chamber and they cancel each other out. So 3 Labor guys and 3 Liberals, that's it. So when it comes to voting, we basically deal ourselves out of the situation. If we had senators that went to Canberra and they sat effectively representing almost solely West Australian interests, then they would have a bargaining position in the Senate, meaning that whenever money, I'm not against money being spent on the East Coast, I just wish that they would allocate 11% of that same funding to here, because we're 11% of the population.
Yeah.
So to me, some senators go to Canberra and then their future career as a minister or in the alignments, it trumps their position as a West Australian. If I was a senator for Western Australia, I would never take any role as a minister. I would never take any parliamentary secretary role. I would go there knowing that I'm a senator, and every time legislation came up before me, I would be voting surely and solely in terms of its benefit to Western Australia. And if it didn't, then I would oppose it. So, for example, say Albanese is talking about having an inland rail system between Brisbane and Melbourne. This is a long-term dream to have an inland rail train. Well, I'm sorry, if I was a senator, I would be not voting for that. I would not be allocating a cent. Now, if my other Senate members and I were to veto that and to act to prevent that bill from occurring, maybe a compromise we could have is that they would build that railway, but they'd also build a fast train from Perth to Bunbury.
Or Adelaide.
Or Adelaide, yes. So, but unfortunately what happens is, with these strategic projects, the senators, in my opinion, they will probably differ and take great offence, but they get caught up in their party responsibilities.
Could be Gerald to Margaret River. Could be Geraldton to Margaret River.
Yes.
In rail.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm dreaming now. Anyways,
I simply make the point that the Senate when they set up the Australian Constitution, they cracked the egg 150 times by electorates. That's all okay, but the Senate was supposed to be the mechanism as a check, on Sydney Melbourne power, and if our senators playing according to a party political structure were effectively giving up that leverage that the founding fathers wanted us to have. And so I think that we should find the courage to refine that leverage.
I'm glad you said that.